What's going on, guys? We're back at it. Man, it's super cold. I think it's about 39 degrees. It's 11:15 in the morning. We got a late start, but I had to chisel the ice off the truck. But anyway, we're back at it. We got tons of baits tied on. It's super windy. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but we're gonna go out here and try to catch them. I haven't been out here in about 3 weeks. So the last time I was here, I was catching them on small, thin side crankbaits, and we were doing a stop and go retrieve, and we were catching a lot of the fish on the stop when we were on that retrieve. So we're going to try that again today to see if they're still biting on that type of retrieve. If not, we might have to revert to something else, maybe like a jerk bait, or I'm not even sure, but we're going to go out here and try to figure them out, and I want y'all to come along. Also, once we get out here under the water, I'm going to give you guys the water temperature. The air temperature, I already told you, about 39 degrees. The wind's blowing from the north, so the north winds are actually really, really cold right now. So we're going to go out here and try to figure them out, so y'all come along. And in the wintertime, you want to take your time. You want to be patient. If you run into a really good school that's feeding heavily, you know, you can probably move a little bit quicker. This water temperature is in the 40s. You might need to take your time. You might need to slow down. Now, every once in a while, you might come out here and power fishing. You know, you'll catch them pretty quick, you know, fishing fast. But if you're not, you need to slow down. Fish the conditions. If you're cold and you're moving slow, you probably need to fish the same way. So we pulled up to a wind-blown bank right now. It's got some shallow water in it. We're sitting at about 8 foot of water, and we're casting toward the bank. We're going to try a stop and go retrieve with this Berkley Frittside 5. Stop and go retrieve. We're going to fan cast it, so we've got deep water off to our right hand side, a small pocket right here, and then a long bank right here. So we're just going to fan cast it. Let's see what we can. Yeah. I don't know what the wind blowing really hard makes the fish a little bit more active or less active, so I'm gonna try to see. Oh, there's a hit. Not a bad one. Happy New Year, our first fish. Let's see what we got here. Electronics kind of shut off. What happened there? Let's see what we got. And I felt them hit it on the stop. So that stop and go retrieve was what helped us catch the fish last time we were here, so it helped us just a second ago. So we may continue with it. You know, let's see if it's a pattern first. There he is right there. Look at that gut. Look how fat he is. You know they're eating up. But right there, that Berkley Frittside 5 runs about 2 to 5 feet, and it's got a slow rise to it, which is awesome. So guys, the water temperature is 45 degrees. It's 39 degrees outside, and within about the first 10 minutes we were here, we hung into one. So let's get a weight on them. Probably about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds maybe. Let's see. 224. Not bad. 224. Good little chunk right there. Look at the mess. mask up for a picture. Fatty. Let him go. So, like I was saying, the wind is coming from behind us, hitting this bank right here. And a lot of the times they say, try to use the wind to your advantage. So a lot of the times when it's windy out, you want to go to those wind-blown banks, come off a little bit. I'm probably about a cast length and a half away from this bank, but I can still fan cast this area, which is a really good percentage area. It's got a shallow area, it's a little pocket. It's got deep water off to our right-hand side. And then right here, I think there's some submerged vegetation along this bank here, and the wind is hitting this bank really, really good. So we're going to keep on fishing, and we're going to try to catch a couple other ones. So y'all hang on. But yeah, I just got this new reel, the Revo ALF. The castability is absolutely insane. It is, you know, a small bait application type reel, but it casts very, very well. Now I am casting with the wind, but it still casts really, really well. But we're gonna just do our stop and go retrieve, and like I said, that bait has a very slow rise to it. So we're just gonna crank it a little bit, and then we're just gonna stop. And as you saw on that belly, that fish, they're trying to eat up. We're gonna take advantage. Anything that swims past them. We'll just make a really long cast. This reel, the castability is sweet, and I got it for a small bait application. I just needed another one with a medium powered rod. A lot of the times when I fish treble hooks, I like to fish a medium powered rod. It just helps a lot. It just helps out a lot more when you're fighting that fish. The rod does a lot of the work for you. I'm just gonna fan cast. I got tons of different baits tied on too. I have an underspin, a worm, a smaller crankbait, lipless crankbait. Then I have a bait that dives down just a little bit deeper on this Berkley Frittside 7. I think it goes like from 3 to 7 feet. Keep on making a cast. Let's go this bank. He's a little darker. Seemed like he might have been in some vegetation. It's a little chunk. Still on that Berkley Frittside. 5. Give him away. Probably about the same, maybe a little heavier than the other one. Just a little bit. First one was 224, this one's 244. So there's another one. Pretty colors too. See how red their lips are. You know the water's cold when the lips are red. These are pretty color. See, little guy. So we actually moved, and right out here in front of us, there's a point. So it comes down along this bank, super shallow, and then it's got this long point, and it's actually right all the way out here from all the way over there. So this point, I guess you could say it was a ridge, or is a ridge. It's a very, very long underwater point. Now you wouldn't be able to see it by looking at the water. You would only be able to know that this was here by using your electronics and going over it from time to time. So I'm really familiar with this area. So we have this long, and we're actually sitting on the end or the tail end of it, and I'm casting up to it, and what I'm trying to focus on is the right hand side of the point. And the reason why is because this wind is blowing over this point. In my mind, with this water being really cold, those fish can kind of hunker down on the other side of this point to where the water isn't really pushing them and trying to, they're not trying to really fight current, but at the same time, it may be pushing bait fish, or not pushing, but guiding bait fish over that to where those fish could feed if they wanted to. So right there, I was using that Berkley Frittside 5 that goes 2 to 5 feet. I'm throwing parallel to this point off to the right hand side of it and coming to the boat. And I was still using that stop and go retrieve. And as you see, we landed another fish right there. So there is some vegetation. The vegetation that I've got on my bait was actually really dark, so I want to say it was dead vegetation. But if this time of the year when it's cold, if you can find some green vegetation, some vegetation that is alive, a lot of the times that will hold some really good fish too. So vegetation, rocks, hard bottom, they're all really key locations to finding these fish in the wintertime. So I'm gonna check this line real quick. The line feels fine. And we're just gonna get out here and we're gonna keep on casting in the same area. And there's also another point right off behind us that kind of sets up similar to this right here. So if this kind of dies off, we can probably go back there. I was also thinking about the channel that goes back into this pocket behind us. It's a really long pocket that has a channel that runs down the middle of it. And sometimes during the wintertime, those bass will go up into those pockets, push those bait fish back there, and feed on them all winter long. So we may go try that as well. Just making long casts, cranking it, and just bringing it in slow. That right there, I didn't really feel them bited. I just felt a lot of tension. Hook sets are free, so if you feel that tension, set that hook. pretty good too. We got a giant on. Try to get him to come back this way. Yeah, but he inhaled it. It's a good one. Right there on that point. Trying to get somewhere on. Oh man, it's a giant. I'm gonna need to retie after this one. But this is a giant. Guys, the water temperature is 46 degrees. Look at this stud. Look at this stud. You ain't catching them. Need to slow down. If you don't got this Berkley Frittside crankbait, you need to get one. I'm not sponsored by them, but dang it, they work. Look at this giant. Pliers. Get it out of this rope. Look at that. Stud. That's what we're talking about. So, he ate it. It's actually right here in the... Let's see if we can get it out. Alright. There she is. Let's just set it there because we don't know what's going on with it. Look at this fish. Giant. That's what we came out here for. Them red lips. Mid-sevens. 747. That's cool. 747. Giant. You can still catch them. Look at those lips. Giant. Cheese. I'm working out too well. But alright, big guy. Big girl, whatever you are. Thanks for playing with us. There she goes. Man, that was fun. That's why we come out here. Catch them giants. Catch them giants. To catch giants. Alright, let's go with this setup real quick. Let's talk about it. Alright. I just purchased this new Revo. It is the AL-F series. And the one reason why I got it was because I wanted to be able to throw some more small bait applications, and it's been casting great. I've caught all the fish today on it already so far, and I mean, I have no complaints of it yet. I mean, I only been fishing it for a day, so, or a couple hours, but it casts really well. And on top of that, you know, with the cast ability, I am casting it with the wind, so it's casting a little bit further, but I can feel that even if it wasn't windy, that the cast ability is still going to be really, really good. It is a 6:4 to 1 gear ratio. It's not super fast. Usually around this time of the year when it's cold, I like anywhere from a 6:4 to 1 gear ratio to something a little bit slower, like a 5 to 1. This is a 7-foot medium powered rod. It doesn't matter what kind of rod this is. This is an old deuce rod, but it doesn't matter what kind of rod it is. All right, but the main thing that I look forward to, or look for in a rod when I'm fishing cold weather applications or a bait that has treble hooks, is a medium powered rod. And the reason why is because it has a lot of flex. And in the past, I've had a lot of difficulties fishing baits that have exposed hooks or treble hooks with using a medium heavy powered rod, and I feel like it had a lot more it's quicker on the flex. So when those fish come up and shake their head, instead of that rod flexing with their head, they actually spit that bait out, and it's very, very stressful when that happens. So anytime I'm fishing exposed hooks, like let me see, almost like a chatterbait, it's exposed, or like a swim jig, it's exposed hook, I love to fish a medium powered rod, and then along with my treble hooks. So I'm using 12-pound line. Now it doesn't matter which brand it is. I do use Berkley Trilene, but like I said, it doesn't matter. Fishing line is fishing line, and it works all over the country, and you gotta figure out what works best for you. I used to use Strand, I used to use all these other different types of fishing line, and I recently changed over to Berkley Trilene, and I mean, it's been fine. It's been fine. Strand was fine for me too. Actually, Berkley Trilene is actually a little bit cheaper, so I'm going with Berkley Trilene. But let's talk about the water temperature. It's about 46 degrees. It was 39 degrees air temperature when we got here. So I'm going to try to look for baits that are thinner and have a tighter wiggle to it, because as the fish get colder, or the bait fish get colder, they swim a lot more tighter, because their bodies are cold, obviously. Just like us, when we go outside to get the mail or something like that, we're not on a sprint to go get it because our bodies aren't warm. We're cold, and we're trying to bundle up, and we're moving really slow to get to it. And you know, y'all kind of get the idea. But so thinner style baits has actually got a slower rise to it, 12 to 10 pound line, a 7-foot, and you can go with any kind of length you want, but I've had a lot of luck with 7-foot rods. Anything over 7 foot, I feel like at the 7-point mark and longer, the tips got a little bit weaker to where I was breaking those rods, and I just stick to 7-foot rod. They feel good in my hand. I can cast them perfectly fine. Even deep diving crankbaits, I go with a 7-foot rod. But it's whatever feels comfortable to you. This is what I've been using for years, 7-foot rods, and that's what I like. And then the medium powered, and then a reel that is actually a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller, more compact, to where I can throw smaller baits, such as, you know, this Berkley Frittside 5, or a smaller little underspin. So, you know, just I'm trying to downsize my baits around the cold weather time, when the conditions get cold and the baits get a little bit more lethargic. And you know, this is my setup, and this is what I like to use. Another key thing too, when you're out here, you need to dress super warm, because if you're irritable, or your hands are frozen, and you know, you're going through pain in your feet or in your hands or wherever, you know, no matter what kind of application you have, or what best bait that you feel is going to work, your confidence bait or whatnot, or the magical bait, if you don't feel good yourself, and your hands are hurting, and your body's aching due to you being overly cold, you're not going to be able to focus and concentrate on fishing. So that's another key thing too when you're out here in the cold weather. Make sure you're wearing appropriate gear for the situation. As you can see, I got some bibs on there underneath here. They're windproof, so windbreaker material is perfect for cold weather, especially when it's windy. And then this Stormer jacket is actually neoprene, and I only have one shirt underneath this. Actually, I got a hoodie, but a hoodie and a shirt, and it's actually neoprene, and then inside it is actually fleece. And you could literally go shirtless with this jacket and still be warm. The guys that are out there surfing in the wintertime use neoprene, and they're out there in that cold water, and it protects their skin. So, you know, if it protects their skin from being in the water, it's definitely going to protect our skin from being, you know, out here, not even in the water. So I always make sure I have something that is going to keep me warm. They also say use cotton socks so your feet don't get wet. Anything else that I've ever used other than cotton, my feet feel like they're about to fall off no matter how many layers you have on. I also got a fleece hoodie or a fleece hat on, and then another face mask underneath of this that's all fleece too. So I mean, I feel perfectly fine. The only thing that's cold is just this hand just a little bit. And one tip that I can give you when you're fishing in cold weather, and then on top of that windy cold weather, is that pull up to a location to where you can make your cast and have the wind coming through your back. Because if I cast out and I have my hand here while I'm reeling in, my body is actually blocking the wind from getting my hand too cold to where it's not altering how my hand feels while I'm fishing. So if I can leave you a tip of fishing in cold, windy weather, try to pull up to a location that you can fish to where the wind is at your back, to where you're protecting your hand. But let's retie this bait. We caught a couple good fish on it, and let's get back out there. You know, we got 3 great fish on one bait, fishing the same way we did about 3 weeks ago. So let's get back to it. Get back to it. That was fun. That point. Come on. Now these hooks that these Berkley baits are rigged up with, I guess they're called the fusion hooks. Man, they are like so sticky, and what I mean by that, they're like sharp. They are so good. I really like them. I may look into buying a bunch of them to change out some of my baits with. Change out some of my old hooks with, I mean. 127. Not huge, but guess what, guys? It's a fish in 39-degree weather, so it's always a plus. Come out here and go fishing. We're catching fish regardless of size. That was it right there, 127. Our total weight right now on 4 fish is 1340. That 7.5-pound kicker, baby. Catch him on that point and then on that pause. So that stop and go retrieve is pretty good in the wintertime when the water temperature is super cold. For example, 46 degrees. 112. Not huge, but it's a fish. Here's vegetation over there too, and you can see how dark he is. He's a pretty dark fish. See you, buddy. So we're sitting at 1452, so 14.5 pounds right now on our top 5. Our only 5 right now. Let's cast back over there. Guys, I think we're going to wrap it up, but the bait that did it for us today was the thin-sided crankbait that ran about 2 to 5 feet. We targeted wind-blown banks and this main lake point right here, and with that main lake point and this bank right here, it actually has deep water access to it. It has vegetation. Now some of the vegetation was dead, some of it was green, so it seemed like it was alive, and then it also had rock. And then the wind, I felt like the wind played a good factor for us with the wind blow banks, and then this wind coming up over this point right here. But you know, we downsized our gear, 12-pound line, 7-foot medium powered rod with a slower gear ratio, a 6:4-to-1 gear ratio, and we used a stop and go retrieve. With the water temperature today, it did not go over 46 degrees, and I swear this temperature out here probably didn't get over 39 or 40 degrees. It's been really, really cold. So when you guys are out here in the wintertime and you're doubting yourself on catching fish in the cold weather, downside your gear, thin-sided crankbaits, stop and go retrieve, and you can produce the fish like we just caught today. So guys, I appreciate you coming along. Continue to follow Bassing with Buddy, and I will see you next time.